This is the Rant Supply Podcast. This is Paul. Today is Good Friday. And in 2 days, 3 days, of course, it'll be Easter. And this is an American holiday, I guess, not an American holiday, but unique in how Americans approach it. These 3 days, I used to despise. I hated the pastels and the bunny rabbits and all that stuff, but this is, in some ways, equivalent. It's an American Day of the Dead, and it's quickly becoming my favorite holiday set as 3 days, as I actually look at it for what it is and understand that these 3 days are important in many cultures going back, but just it's today, as Good Friday, is one of the most important days of the year because it is the day celebrating the death of an old life, and Easter is the rebirth. And I think it's important that we all take a look at our lives and decide what part or whether the whole has to die away so that we can refocus and reconstitute ourselves and start new, start fresh. I mean, there are so many people who have this understanding of Christianity that it has to be what traces back to the Catholic Church, and I think that it's a really limited understanding. And just look at the life of Christ and look at the symbolism and the behind the acts of Christ. The death and the rebirth is, I think it's something that fundamentally our society could definitely benefit from and has lost sight of. I think it's a reminder that we can be better, that it's part of life to be better, but we have to choose that. We have to be willing to let the bad and the least of us die away so that we can be reborn stronger and better and more refined, purer. And I know that this sounds preachy and religious, and I don't mean for it to in any way, because this is pagan cultures. This is the death of winter and the birth of spring. It's renewal. But renewal happens all the time. But are we renewing anything good? Or decent? Because that takes intent. I just think that this is an incredible opportunity for us all to reassess ourselves. And to look at our information, look at our understanding, and most importantly, look at our suppositions and our prejudices, because it's hilarious to me how, depending on who you talk to, whether it be, let's just take the extremes of the political left and the political right, and on the political left, your big news stories this week were Stormy Daniels and I don't know, some other garbage. And on your political right, your stories are that the DOJ has subpoenaed the FBI for all of the documents, the over 1 million documents, with Peter Strzok and the two FBI agents and their contacts between one another, and the FISA court or FISC court or whatever being manipulated and all of this stuff. And that's your big story on the right. And the split is astounding, because I would think that this step of the Department of Justice issuing a subpoena, which I'm hoping is backed very quickly here by a warrant, and a warrant to seize and a military seizure of these documents, simply because it's the only way that I can personally see that you run no risk of further removal or omission of documents here further, is to just go and get them. But I can't see how, even on the left, where this this obviously is something that isn't going to benefit the left, but I think that this move is something that mainstream media ignoring this has to be the line that shows that they're no longer interested in facts or actual occurrences anymore. That they are at this point no greater, and this is no disrespect to any opinion personalities, but they are the same thing. That there is no attempt on who is claiming to be the news of having any interest in reporting the news or facts anymore. And therefore, any special permissions that they receive claiming to be the press, the free press, are exempt. You're not the press if you're not exposing the news. I mean, the press needs to be contrarian to the government to a large part, and in a strange way, the mainstream media has been that and has been helpful in that. But at the same time, the press needs to be able to display some objectivity. It is an absolute necessity if you want press freedoms and press rights that supersede the rights of ordinary citizens in many cases. I mean, the press has to be allowed into places that the average citizen cannot go. Well, I personally think that you are forfeiting any of those rights if you're actively refusing to report the news. That's my opinion on that, and whatever, but maybe, today is my day of death. Today is my day of looking at what I would like to fall away, and what I would like to put behind me, and what commitments to be a better person I would like to make. I love the structure of it. It basically gives me 3 days to find ways to just be better. I hope this is something that more people take a look at. The fear of death in this life is it's I don't know, it's just riddled with misunderstanding. And I think atheism makes the fear of death a permanent thing. And I just, death itself makes it a permanent thing. And I think it's an overly simplistic view that we are going to somehow just end. That the consciousness, the awareness that we have been given in this life and grows through life. I just think that it's unrealistic to me that this is just simply going to fizzle like a candle. And perhaps I'm wrong, and that's the wonder of this argument, is that there's no way within this life to definitively win or lose this argument. And I think that's where faith comes in. I do believe that faith is the most important actual, I guess, choice to have faith in one thing or another. I'm not specifying Christian or Muslim, or even atheism is a faith. It's a belief in something that you cannot prove. And I think faith is incredibly important in this life, because it is the single stance that you take or can take without with the knowledge that you'll never be able to prove it. No one will ever be able to sufficiently prove you wrong. And the consequences are, in some cases, dire, and in other cases, moot, I would say, because I don't think any of us has a completely solid understanding of death. I don't think any of us has a completely solid understanding of, more importantly, afterlife, or whether one exists. I don't know, it's a fun topic to think about, it's a fun topic to talk about, but for anyone who claims certainty, well, that person is either gravely naive or simply lying, because it's just, there's no way, with especially our limited understanding of everything, to think that everything that we see is everything that is, and everything that we measure is all that comprises reality. I think, again, it's naive, and I think that we can put up as childish for science, anyone of science or religion or anything, to believe that we will ever, as human beings, in having the limitations that we have a 100% understanding of life, death, God, the lack of God, or anything like this. I think you're not. You are stepping well over naivete into childishness. A simple misunderstanding that we have limitations that will forever prevent us from having the same omniscience as God, if we believe in them. I don't know. Anyway, I truly hope everyone sees these next 3 days as an incredible yearly opportunity to just, you know what, if life is getting you down, let it die. Not, of course, physically, but let that which sucks fade away. And that which you want, that provides hope, that provides something good in the long run, let that take its place. Thank you for listening. This is Paul. This is the Ransupply Podcast. Check out my website, www.honnecraft.com. And if you like to, if you don't, hey, don't. Just enjoy your weekend. Take it easy.